somewhere between cravats and Canadians, between All Out and Starrcade 83, there resides a come-as-you-are fandom better than a bunkhouse stampede. Somewhere between 86 Crockett and modern-day New Japan, between 83 Memphis and some elite golden plans. There's a man who's had so many concussions he thinks CTE is well, he forgot that line. And a girl who makes Effie look just slightly curious from time to time. It's time for John and Raja, or perhaps Raja and John, as they will put over Corny as well as Mr. Tony Khan. We are the future, the present, and the past. You'll never see it coming. It's the Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast! And hello, and welcome to the Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, John Hawkins, as always, by the way, and I'm joined with a girl who has the absolute hardest core. She loves her horsemen to come in fours. She's the Southern Belle who hails from hell. If you don't ask her, she'll never tell. And tonight, she's casting a revolution spell. That's right. It's the mysterious and downright conniving sometimes, Raja. How you doing, Raja?
I am not sure how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. There's a lot to unpack. This is obviously, if you haven't guessed it yet, this is by the title, this is our revolution reaction. So
you're unpacking an entire house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Box after box.
And I mean, there is a lot to get to there. I know there's a lot of mixed bag over on the main event with some of the stuff, but it's exactly what I went over at the first.
Yes.
Like if you caught our pregame show, I was talking about what exploding barbed wire is.
Yes.
The barbed wire explodes.
Yeah, it's in the title there.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I know that some people were disappointed the ring didn't explode and kill people. or burn them alive, and yeah. I hate that. I really do, because it would be great.
Yes.
But you know, we weren't able to kill or murder anybody this time.
Yeah.
But maybe sometime in the near future, somebody can get with Tony Khan and be like, "Hey, look,
can we kill someone?
Can you please kill somebody? That would be great.
Please
appreciate
and thank
it.
you.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate it.
It's for the views.
But, you know, all fun set aside, some really cool stuff to talk about and to break down and also to give a little grade that we like to do here. We like to grade it, and we go from a point system of 1 being Yano to 10 being Kota Ibushi. So basically anywhere in between there, you're going to get there. And I mean, Kota Ibushi G1 match, night 5, I don't know. You know, something just miraculous and awesome. And we have a lot more to come later in the week with a full proper episode. We're going to have the Dynamite recap and live reaction deal. But other than that, we'll have our proper episode. In the proper episode, we're going to break down New Japan. I didn't want to dive into that anywhere on this reaction show because I really want to take it from the anniversary show up to the point we're at the time, and really that way we can start telling the story of what's going on there with the New Japan shows. Fantastic from what we've seen. You know, we have obviously seen the anniversary show, and so there's some really good stuff to talk about.
Full slate of
so
things.
I really want to hit that as a whole and be able to talk about that without having anything else pulling from that.
That deserves its own show.
You know, and really the only other story I could get to other than our reactions is a little thigh slapping.
Oh,
so,
Jesus.
You know, I would be absolute remiss if I didn't talk about the thigh slapping.
Oh, I can't even handle this story.
It could be one of the dumbest stories I've ever seen in my entire life.
They've lost their minds.
So, WWE. All right. And this is, I'm not picking on them. They're picking on themselves.
Yes, they are. They're just asking for it.
All right. I am a avid Observer member, so I'm just going to take this straight from the Observer. Well, actually from the figure4online.com, you know. In this week's Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer discussed the WWE cracking down on wrestlers for slapping their thigh or leg when throwing kicks. And on Saturday's Wrestling Observer Radio, he had more details on the genesis of the new policy. Meltzer said there is a new signage outside the gorilla position and backstage that reads, "Do not slap leg when kicking." From what Meltzer was told, Vince McMahon saw someone do a fairly obvious slap on an episode of SmackDown and got upset, resulting in the new doctrine.
Meltzer initially reported there was a memo sent to NXT talent at one point, but that no one said a word about it since it was sent. It's unknown how WWE will enforce this new rule if it's broken. The irony of a group where Shawn Michaels is one of the main instructors who grew up watching Chris Adams, my favorite wrestler as a child,
Yes.
one of them, getting mad because internet trolls who hate the Young Bucks complain about thigh slapping is the ultimate in silliness. The only time I can recall it even being noticeable was when Nikki Bella came off the top rope with a kick that missed because her body was so programmed on delivering a kick motion. She slapped her thigh in midair, which was obvious on a kick that was supposed to miss. Yes, that spot should be taught, not how not to do it, he wrote in this week's newsletter. The sleight of hand in creating a sound effect is something that's been part of the business for decades, as Meltzer noted. Mr. Wrestling 2 was famous for a hard back slaps on the knee lift for sound effects. Dating back to the 50s, there was a stomp your foot hard on the mat at the moment of connection on the punch. The thigh slap super kick dates back to Chris Adams from when he came over from the UK. It's one of the silliest things to worry about because perfectly timed moves garner great crowd response generally. But it became a buzzword for people who are mad it's used so frequently. As if punches weren't far more frequent, doing the same thing in the 70s, and punches worked fine in those days. It's really one of the dumbest things ever. Plus, let me tell you, you ever seen that really mean punch Bobby Eaton gives? Well, I managed Bobby Eaton, and he slaps his damn chest, all right, or his belly or his side or something like that. It's hard to tell because I'm standing right below him, and I tried my best because it was always so good. I always want to see it. But listen, there's an art to everything. Yes, there are some people that are great at the art. Some people are not so great at the art. Let me tell you something else. Back in 1975, you know what they didn't have? HD, 4K, 5,000 cameras. They didn't have that. So it was kind of easy to go watch something from 1983, okay? Go watch something from 1983. Tell me how fucking easy it would be to get away with something. I could literally throw snap pops on the ground and you wouldn't see it in 1983. Oh my God, he just shot off like 50 times with that one chop. I could have a midget behind me with 2 pieces of clapwood, and every time I throw a punch, the midget could go every fucking time. Vince McMahon has lost his goddamn mind, and it's irritating. Okay,
he's just throwing a
so
fit.
let them do it. Let them do it. Let them do it all. You know what else they shouldn't do? Bounce off the goddamn ropes, because it don't really work. Surprise! First day of wrestling training, I go into the ropes expecting a big burst of motion taking me across the ring. It don't work. It's a work. It's all a fucking work. So I don't understand what the difference in working this and working that is, okay? We hold you up on a goddamn pile driver. Do you want me to keep going? We cut a big flip on a backdrop. You want to quit doing it all? I don't know, pal. They're gonna figure it out. You know what makes them figure it out? When you go on national TV and go, oh, we're entertainment. I don't want you to use the word wrestling. It's entertainment. We don't have wrestlers. We have sports entertainers. Gibbly gobbly, gobbly smack.
It's going to be hard to entertain anyone when your kicks don't make any noise.
Oh, no, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, God.
So WrestleMania will be sold out with deaf people. It's just going to be a whole sea of those less fortunate who have lost their hearing. It's actually great because, we're not going to have to worry about finding tickets for everybody because it's going to be easy. The people can come out and go, and just let them right in. Marley, Matt, whatever all these people were, these names. It don't matter. Listen, how dumb, how stupid, how ignorant. Okay? I don't care if I got a phone call right now. And someone was like, hey, John, guess what? We know you've been around for a long time. We know you've been down there, Tennessee. We know you got a good mind for things, and you're articulate. We've decided, you know what? We really want you up here. we're going to pay you $1 million that you kiss my ass. I want this on record.
The answer is no.
I want it on record, okay? Because some people are like, that's what you say. That's what you say, but let me tell you, if somebody called you right now, Jericho. No, I really wouldn't. Fuck off. That's my answer.
How can you work in those conditions?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't try it. I wouldn't do it. There's no way. It's ridiculous. There's no way. Because that kick is only, no matter what they say the reason is, it's because they're competition.
Yeah. It's
because the people that are their competition have done that and done that well.
Yes.
And they that's part of their shtick.
Mm-hmm.
It's just part of their shtick. They have fun with it, but it's part of the shtick. And they also do more death-defying moves than anybody else. Most of them people, I'm talking like even Kenny Omega matches and this and that. There are matches that are just unbelievable. Go watch Phoenix, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Phoenix, he does the same thing, okay? But he also does moves that defy what human beings are supposed to be able to do.
It doesn't take away anything.
It's all how you sell it.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is how you sell it. The first fight I ever got in school, okay? In high school, the first time I got in a fist fight, I stomped my foot when I threw a punch. I didn't have a good outing on my first fight.
I know.
I don't know many people that do, but I got in a lot of fist fights, okay? This is just the truth, and it's worth telling you. I got in a whole lot of fist fights, and it didn't stop with school. I got in so many fights that I actually took a professional job where I did that and made money at it. And I'm not talking about wrestling. I said made money at it because I enjoy it, okay? But it's still in my DNA to want to stomp my foot because I watched so much wrestling growing up. I thought that was what you did, okay? I really thought it was what you did. And let me, from what I was saying a second ago, let me tell you this. It's the realest thing I've ever done. Okay? It's the realest thing I've ever done. Pro wrestling has nearly killed me. Mm-hmm. And I don't care. I've got a lot of friends that have made it. I've had friends as they were in WWE. I've had friends in TNA. I've had friends in New Japan. I've had friends everywhere. And, it's great. They've traveled the miles. They've done the thing, right?
Yeah. And
there's guys like me that's been around 20 years in the business, and man, they want to remind you of that every 5 seconds. Like Chase Owen said the other day on one of his things on Twitch, but they've never traveled more than 25 miles or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the truth, okay? I'd like to think that I've traveled as far as they would have me. I've traveled to West Virginia and Georgia and Memphis and all this stuff, and would travel much further in a heartbeat for this business. Love this business. Absolutely love this business and have such a passion for it. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, man, this business also, on my small contributions for it, when I was still lacing up my boots and putting on my singlet and taping my hands and, going out there, I nearly died because of this business. I nearly lost my life from head injuries because of this business. My brain swelled into the front of my skull because of this business. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter if you're Mick Foley. It doesn't matter if you're Nick Gage. It doesn't matter if you're Shawn Michaels. It can happen to anybody. Okay, and I'm not proud of the fact that I nearly died, but I wouldn't take it back because I love the fucking wrestling business. Nobody can take that away or cheapen that for me. If I was famous in Kingsport, Tennessee, I was more famous than most people will ever get to be in the wrestling business. Mm-hmm. And I take pride in that. I take pride in the people that I've got to work with that I grew up loving and I still love. The Bobby Eatons, the Barbarians, the Tom Pritchards, the Ricky Mortons, these guys that I absolutely idolized that I got to work with. I love the fact that I work with local legends, in my opinion, the Tony Gibbons and the Bo James and the Chris Richards and all these guys. that became my brothers this time. And the guys that I've watched go from the first day of training to being international superstars. The Chase Owenses and the best indie guy out there, Jason Kincaid, and all these cats that have come through on their way to the top.
Yeah.
And that I've got a chance to work with. Soon you'll see Alex Zane and the Blake Christians and all these of the world that have came through Kingsport. Mm-hmm. And, that's our home mecca, if you will. And if you will, sorry, I don't care if I'm cutting a promo or not. My point to this is I've lost a lot because of my love for professional wrestling, because of the passion that I put into it. And the last thing I need, and the last thing I like to see, is anything that draws attention that makes it look phony in any way. Okay? And it makes it look phony. Like, if you're trying to make something not be phony, pointing out something like leg slapping, do you know how many people probably didn't notice that? Mm-hmm. As many as did. I'll give you that. Okay? And if one person noticed it that didn't notice it before, that takes that magic away from them. You can never put the genie back in the bottle. Once the genie's out, you cannot put it back in the bottle. And that's the thing. It changes your perception of what you're seeing. And it pisses me off really bad, if you can't tell. But the when I first went to train in wrestling, and we went through it, and I seen like things that with the way things worked. Okay. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to get into that, but the way things work, what things are based off of, what constitutes doing it good and doing it bad. Even down to working a certain body part. Right. Mm-hmm. And it being a specific thing here, which is not a big surprise, but it changed everything for me from then on. And the first time I watched wrestling after that, I no longer looked at it with the same magic in my eyes.
It changes.
It became more of a critique. Mm-hmm. And I had to get that out of me. It took me years to watch pro wrestling the same way. It took me years to watch pro wrestling again.
Yeah.
And dude, I never missed anything. But I missed a 10-year block somewhere in there because it became difficult. As it was all, I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the one critiquing it.
Yeah, just watching it to see what they did wrong.
I had to enjoy it. I had to break myself down and go back to being a fan on purpose so I could enjoy it and the others around me could enjoy it with me. I do it to this day. I lose every bit of smart I have when I'm watching a show and I let it entertain me.
Yeah.
I allow it to entertain me. So it really bothers me because if this comes out, and Vince didn't say, release it, or maybe he did, but whoever the jackass is that had to tell everybody, hey, there's something on the wall here that says don't slap legs. Well, that's saying these other guys do.
Yeah.
And it just sucks, man. It sucks because it's such a part of the business. If it wasn't so ingrained in the business, if it wasn't that I respect Bobby Eaton of the Midnight Express probably more than any other worker in the world. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's just a personal preference. I can watch a Bobby Eaton match and think, man, that guy's good. Like, that guy made everybody look better. And that guy was genuinely one of the nicest people I ever met at all times.
Yeah.
And that adds something to it as well, because, he didn't ever just criticize you for no reason. A lot of times the guys that weren't that good are the ones sitting back behind the curtain going, no, let me tell you something. Out there when you did a flip, you should have flopped. And for no reason.
I've heard stories about those guys.
And, that's fine. I'm still respectful. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And that's just the way it is. But this shit pisses me off so bad. And it's not a big deal. It's only a big deal when you make it a big deal. If somebody screws up and throws a leg kick and slaps their thigh and there's nobody there, then you either cover it up quickly, which is what we're supposed to do, is cover each other's stuff up.
Yeah.
You cover it up quickly or have somebody cover it up for you or whatever, man. It's what happens when you do something and it messes up. It happens in matches. But, and then you talk to that person in the back And, hey, don't ever do that again.
Tell them how to fix it.
This has to happen at a perfect time because it adds something to the match.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like throwing punches. That was a hard one for me because I knew how to fight. So I would throw these really short, straight punches and, tag people. And it was like, look, you've got to oversell your punch. Throw a wide punch because, be the person in the back row. Don't be the person, in the ring. They got to see what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
And slow down. That's the big one, right? Slow down. All this good stuff.
It's an art form.
It is. And it's the most beautiful art form that's ever existed.
And if anyone should understand that, it's Vince McMahon.
Yeah. So, it's just, I'm just saying, I'm not saying this out of a place of not knowing.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's just because all these trolls, it all fuels from basically one source.
Mm.
And this one source who just for whatever reason despises this other company.
Yeah.
Goes out of their way to say what they will. And I will still listen to this person, take their point of view, because I like everybody's point of view, like politics. I listen to a little of everything, unless it just gets to the point where it's like, okay, they're just trying to shit on this other person.
Yeah.
And then I can't listen to you anymore. Even in a human-to-human conversation about another human.
Yeah.
I'll listen to the points.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, he beat his wife. Oh, did he? Oh, crap. But I'll listen to the guy.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Well, this happened and this happened and this happened. She threw a punch. I was trying to block it and I accidentally hit her and I felt terrible and I sliced myself 5 times on my chest to cut my nipples off and send them to a pope, just to try to bring myself back around, Then I'm probably not going to be as hard on that guy because I did listen to both sides.
Right. There's 2 sides to every story.
And 3. There's 3 sides. There's your side, my side, and the truth.
Yes.
And I understand that.
You get closer to the truth when you listen to the first 2 sides.
Absolutely. So this is just stupid. This one really bothers me. That's why I said earlier, we can't go into that yet.
Yes. Well, Vince is essentially just throwing a fit. Like you said, maybe you could kind of do it like this next time. It was a little obvious. You just do it this way next time. And he's like, fine, you just won't do it at all anymore. I'll just quit doing it. How about that?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Calm down. Just take a deep breath. Do some meditation. Calm down.
Well, what I want to know is everybody so job scared that they never challenge his ideas?
Apparently.
Is it one of those things like where you just, you don't challenge it, right?
Yeah.
You just, and I've seen these, I've worked in these conditions.
Everyone just goes, yeah, yes, sir, yes, sir.
Yeah. And they just agree with it. Like, and it could be the craziest thing in the world.
Uh-huh.
Like, strawberry yogurt turns you gay, And it can be like, instead of saying, sir, we don't really say things like that these days.
Yeah.
Instead it's going to be like, nobody eats a strawberry yogurt. I mean.
Somebody get some banana yogurt quick.
Yeah.
God.
It's just.
Opposing ideas are healthy. They're healthy.
They are. When they're
they
done.
Would probably make things better.
When they're done correctly, you normally end up in a better place.
Yes.
But you end up in a much better place when you understand that to generalize that all leg slaps are bad. And I don't, my big thing is, what are you worried about? If it's exposing the business, I want to laugh in thou's face.
Already did that, pal.
I mean, you call it entertainment.
Yeah.
It's in the name.
You already put it in the toilet and took a big dump on it.
It's in the name. You have a character who disappears during a match in front of your eyes and comes back dressed as someone else instantly. And I mean, do you not think shouldn't that be a sign on the wall maybe?
No disappearing in the ring.
Yeah. I mean, should there not be a sign? Should you not get another piece of notebook paper and just put, please do not disappear in matches.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining Vince getting notebooks and writing "do not slap leg" and pasting it on the wall.
I mean, it reminds me.
Oh.
It reminds me of a family member who would take a pad in Walmart, and I've only heard stories. But he'll take a pad with him everywhere he goes. And he will be in Walmart and he'll put, you need more cheese.
If they're out of something he wants.
And like they don't know that, like there's not a digital system for it. And this is the same guy that when I was still drinking, stayed at the house and actually carried Bible tracts with him and would get my vodka in my freezer and put Bible tracts under the vodka. Got in my underwear drawer. I don't even want to tell you what was in there, and put Bible tracts there.
Oh goodness.
So this was a family member on the other side of the family.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, is this like a normal thing? Well, yeah, that's just his way of,
Oh man.
But is that normal? Do you think that in your world, is that normal?
Does this happen to you?
And then my family was brought up. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair point.
You may be liable for compensation.
Yeah, it's just, I just picture that now of, are you that scared? Are you that scared to say, you know what, that's dumb as shit, dude? and
At least make a valid argument for why you should maybe not do that.
And the funny thing is, I love the guy as a character in life.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot of those things that make me love the guy. I actually love him as a commentator.
He's such a caricature.
And I really do. I think some of the stuff he did was ingenious and great.
He's lost touch.
But my God.
A little bit.
My God, what are you going to do with Adam Cole now?
Oh God.
I mean, Adam Cole is
Release him?
He's the actual worst leg slapper that I've ever seen. Like I worry about him getting thigh cancer.
Oh goodness.
Because of how hard he slaps his thigh.
I just don't understand anymore.
I mean, it's just I really that just is really weird to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And for someone that runs an entertainment business,
yeah, you
gotta entertain, and leg slaps make it entertaining.
So, and I'll just go with Kenny Omega. Do you slap when you do the V trigger? Yes, you absolutely do. But I don't want to see the V trigger if I don't hear that.
Yeah, you gotta hear the noise.
It bothers me when it happens without it, because I enjoy the noise. And I guess we can just go New Japan with everything. Just really knock the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Let's just concuss everyone.
I'm sure he'd love that when all of his talent's hurt.
Yeah, I mean, let's just Ishii Suzuki everything.
I'll be interested to see what a show looks like now.
Yeah, I mean, what?
You almost want to watch it for the morbid curiosity of it.
Yeah,
just to see, count the leg slaps.
I wanted to take the stomps away too, and and maybe we don't have 29 different views of the same area of the ring with the abrasive camera cuts,
constant camera changes.
So people that actually have seizure problems can watch again.
Motion sickness.
I had this friend that used to come over and we made fun of him. It's really wrong of us, but we only did it behind his back, so it's okay. But he would come over and he'd be like, oh, I can't watch. No. And he'd turn his head and
get dizzy.
His wife was like, you remember Chef's parents when he's like, you know what that Loch Ness Monster said? I need Tree Fitty. And she goes, Tree Fitty. She was the Tree Fitty wife, because he would say, oh no, it's gonna cause a seizure, sissy. And she'd be like, cause a seizure. You gotta turn that devil show off. And I would just always look at the floor. Cause it was gonna be between that and laugh in your face. Cause I never saw the seizure occur.
Oh man.
But it was promised to me that it happened during a rock show at one point. And there was
just waiting for it.
There was some strobe lighting. So whenever I could have strobe lights around, I would Halloween or whatever. I just wanted them home. But okay.
You got me all worked up and not in a good way.
So
I'm just upset now.
So all right. Revolution.
Whew. That's a better topic. Let's move on to that.
Yes, and yes, Revolution, until we talk about people that are mad that no one caught fire and died.
We're not far removed from Revolution at this moment.
Just a few minutes. We're a few minutes further than we were when we started this.
About 20 minutes further.
This whole business, but yeah.
Shoo-wee. So, I guess we should just jump right in.
I think we should.
With the buy-in match.
You know what? I believe that we're going to put a little warning on this episode. and on the episode, it's going to be, if you want a positive experience, start at 25 minutes in.
Or turn your headphones down for the first couple minutes.
Yeah. 25 minutes in, you'll be good. You'll be golden. So let me do this again. How y'all doing?
Hello.
I'm John's Raja over here.
We just watched Revolution.
We just got done watching Revolution, and we're going to talk about some positive points of Revolution that'll make you happy.
And what we thought about it.
Mm-hmm.
Starting with the buy-in match.
The buy-in.
Where we had Thunder Rosa and Riho versus Britt Baker and a mystery partner because Rebel was hurt.
Yes, Rebo's hurt.
No one saw this coming.
Yeah.
I freaked out.
Yeah.
It was the cutest in the world herself, Maki Ito.
Give me a high five. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. We lost our Vulcan minds.
We did. we absolutely did. It was it was a huge pop. It was a huge pop here.
From the singing entrance to the flipping off, it was beautiful.
And she was so excited, and it was so cute because she was so excited her earpiece fell out. She couldn't even hear the music, but she did it fine.
Oh, she did perfect.
And it was so great, so wonderful.
So happy.
The match was fantastic. It was a fantastic match.
It was so good.
To be put on, I mean, they've worked. Some of them have worked, I think they've all worked.
Yeah, they all have history.
In different little varieties, but not in this variety.
No.
And, back in front of fans really for the first time in a year. This kind of fans. Like the place, they did like 20% or whatever.
It was rocking.
But
compared to what we've seen in the last year.
Oh, it looked great. It was
fantastic.
It looked great. It felt great. And having the fans there, that atmosphere, I think, my God, right off the bat, you knew this is going to be good.
Oh, yeah, it gives you the chills.
If nothing else, it's just for the fans. And Maki Ito has taken the internet by storm. And I do believe that everybody watched the same video that Raja and I watched.
Oh, yeah, her story.
Yeah, there was somebody put a thing up of her story.
Yes.
It's like a 30-minute video. Mm-hmm. It's not well done.
No.
I mean, it's not like high production. I mean, it was well done in telling the story.
Oh, yeah. It made us fall in love.
Yeah, and whoever did it is wonderful. And I mean, just a fantastic
Kudos
storyteller.
to you.
But I was talking about like the high production and all that. It wasn't like done by the company. That's what I meant. And anyway, everybody saw her story and, that she's lost so much. And, she went through a lot of trials and tribulations. I think a lot of people just related to that. Mm-hmm. And her understanding of the English language is to die for.
You mean her understanding of curse words in the English language?
It's basically like she just listened to the first 20 minutes of the podcast and was like, that must be how you act.
That's the way you're supposed to act in America.
Yeah, so.
Oh, man.
Great match.
Yes, Britt Baker and Maki Ito won.
Yes.
Thanks to Rebel and her crutch that she didn't really need.
Yeah,
back in Thunder Rosa.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, man, the buy-in has been questionable at best. And, there's not really been gradable matches on it.
No.
And this one I have to because it was such a good, solid match.
Oh, yeah.
Can lead to a lot of other stuff. I would give this a solid 7.
Yeah,
personally.
Definitely. They all worked great. And the ending was fantastic, just what it needed to be, because I didn't see any way that Maki Ito wasn't taking a pin in that.
Yeah.
But they got it done.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's going to lead to more great things. So I'm all for it. Good stuff.
So we started off the show with an absolute rager of a match for the tag team titles. The Young Bucks versus MJF and Chris Jericho.
Yes.
And there was a lot of speculation about which way this would go. There was talk about interference from Sammy Guevara. There was talk about either side winning for a ton of different reasons. But we ended up with the Young Bucks coming out on top to retain the titles. And, I mean, I love the way this match, it was done the way it needed to be. The Bucks were mad about what happened to Papa Buck. Mm-hmm. And, so they came out and they did that. they brawled. Yes, they beat the crap out of them. Yeah, absolutely. They brawled and it was, no, we're not going to do our normal match. Yeah. The first part of the match was all just punches and we're getting our revenge. Yeah, very much not a normal Young Bucks match. No. I think that, if you're looking for that, 6-star affair, so to speak, it's not what it was intended to be. No. It was really just a
a slobber knocker.
Literally.
Yeah, and I love the fact that moment
was the best.
That moment was classic. Superkick party on MJF, and slobber was actually coming out of his mouth, very noticeably. And Jim Ross is, well, that's an actual slobber knocker.
He was so happy.
Yeah, he's very excited about that, which you gotta love. And something was going on with Jim Ross's voice tonight.
Oh yeah,
it sounded like
he lost it.
He had too many mules, and I mean, it's because I don't know if his voice is gone. I don't know if he's sick or what, but it didn't sound like normal. So it's a lot of the announcing duties seem to kind of befall, Excalibur and Tony.
Yes. They picked up the slack, though.
Yeah, they did very well. Jim was just kind of giving feels,
Yes.
He was just kind of...
I'm surprised his voice lasted the whole show.
Yeah, he was throwing a line in here and a line in there, but, solid opener.
As always.
As always. And for what it was, it was still, a lot of action, a lot of surprise. And, again, I would put this in the 7 range.
Yeah. It was definitely on the same level as the buy-in show. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's weird for the Young Bucks, right?
It is, but in a match like this, it's more about the storytelling.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of almost refreshing to have the Bucks go out there and not have a...
not have to worry about putting on an absolute spectacle.
Yeah.
That wasn't their job tonight. That was somebody else's job.
And this show from top to bottom was not a one-match show. It wasn't, it wasn't like one of those where you've got like 3 matches with a story and then some stuff thrown together. Everything had a very intricate story.
Yeah, it's one of those shows where you worry about getting exhausted halfway through.
Yeah. And
there's so much going on.
But not because of the one 5-star match.
No, because there's it just keeps going. Like, there's no rest.
Absolutely. What do we have next?
Next, we had the tag team Casino Royale.
I love this match.
God, it was so good. It was done so well. The entrances were timed perfectly, I thought. And they got all the tag teams in there.
Yeah.
All the tag teams.
Absolutely.
We have so many tag teams. I don't know if there's another federation that even has 15 tag teams.
No.
In their division.
Not right now. There's not. And noticeable by absence, like FTR. Mm-hmm.
Top Flight,
who was supposed to be in there.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of mixing around at the last minute.
I don't know what happened with Top Flight.
Me either.
So that was kind of strange to me because they were advertised being in there. I don't even know who took their place.
No telling.
I didn't remember seeing SCU originally, but...
Yeah, well, we started out with some of the lower teams, and then our boys came in, Santana and Ortiz, fairly early.
Our boys because we picked them.
Yes, we picked them to win, and they did not.
No, they did not. Very surprising,
And then
honestly.
it looked like maybe SCU was going to win because they have that whole deal, and they challenged the Young Bucks earlier and all that fun stuff. But in the end, Rey Fenix and Pac got it done.
Which I said was the sexy pick.
Yeah, you did. You said it was the sexy pick.
So they went with the sexy pick. But, I mean, there was a lot of drama in the match. You had Lucha, Soros was just dumping people like they were bad. And listen, this match did so good on building people. Mm-hmm. And it did everything the Royal Rumble failed to do. it built almost everybody in the match.
Yeah, like everyone had their spot.
Yeah, and it was awesome because there were so many things come out of it where people came off stronger just for being in it. And, Jungle Boy looked like a main event marquee star once again.
Oh, man.
And
he's so good.
There was times where Jungle Boy was just, hey, come on, let's go. I mean, he's got that whole badassery thing going on now.
Yeah.
Where he's a fighter. And, that's amazing. They've really done that out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, just everybody legitimately looked really good.
Oh, man. And that QT spot.
Yes.
That QT Marshall thing. I don't know if that's a shoot or not.
Well, it's obviously... I mean...
it was done so well.
It was, yeah. It was obviously...
It looked really good, the way it was done.
Yeah, no... The Dustin Rhodes QT thing, that's great. It's a great story. Don't know where it's going to go, but, the QT comes off that way.
Yeah.
He does a really good job.
He does.
Of being that character.
But the best part was the very end where we had Rey Fenix and Jungle Boy alone in the ring for a few minutes. Mm-hmm. That was like the highlight of the whole match for me.
Yeah,
obviously.
It was definitely its own match.
Yeah, I think they were looking for a way to get Rey Fenix a match on the show. They were like, how can we work this in?
Well, it's absolutely two of your biggest stars.
Yeah.
Right now, it's arguably hard to find any two bigger stars as far as being on a hot streak than Jungle Boy and Phoenix.
Oh, yeah,
It was hard for the fans to even have somebody to boo.
Yeah.
Because, they love those guys. And, that's the whole thing. I love the fact that in the match and throughout the night, I noticed that basically whoever had the upper hand, the fans were cheering.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, let's cheer this guy now because he might win.
Yeah, it was just a match full of people.
Just like the ladder match,
win.
right?
Yeah.
Anytime somebody had the advantage, everybody was cheering them because I think during the pandemic, there were so many people there that were just glad to be seeing live wrestling.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we've watched these guys the whole time and we love all of you.
Yeah, definitely.
We love all of you. But it was a great match for being a battle royal like it was.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, me personally, I would give it a 9 on my scale because
it's the best battle royal I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was just fantastic. And these things are always going to have hiccups. They're always going to have, because you're dealing with so many moving parts. But because of that, your degree of difficulty also gets turned up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And, I honestly think it was that good. Like, it was good enough to be its own headliner for an event.
Yeah.
And
maybe one day it will be.
Yeah, if you did it correctly. If you
had a Royale show.
Yeah, if you always did it correctly like that, it would be really good. But anyway, what do we have next?
Next, we had the Women's Championship match, Hikara Shida versus Ryo Mizunami.
Yeah, and I'll let you get more on this one here.
Well, the story behind this one was obviously their history from Japan, and Ryo Mizunami, being a bit of a veteran, claimed that even if it took 100 years, Hikara Shida could never beat her. And she was going to retire 2 years ago before AEW came around.
Right.
And now her only goal is to be AEW champion and to beat Hikara Shida for that belt. So they went into this match wanting to beat each other really badly.
Right.
And the match was just fantastic. They worked so well together, and the comedy was great. I love Ryo Mizunami's bits.
Right.
She's always entertaining.
She is.
It's fantastic. But in the end, Hikara Shida kept her belt like we imagined she would to build her. But
and it builds the belt.
Yes, it definitely builds the belt. And this also built a little more onto the Maki Ito Britt Baker team up there, because Nyla had a run-in and we made an entire match for them on Dynamite. All these ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm really excited to see.
It's going to be great because it's another Maki Ito, so obviously she's sticking around.
Yes.
And that's amazing. Just very excited about that. And I'm also excited about how they keep the stories. That's one thing I love about AEW is you don't go there and just have everything wiped clean and we just forget who you ever were and we're going to name you, Jimmy John or whatever. You keep the stories from their former companies.
Yeah.
And they're in, everything you do, it's not for naught.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's the beauty of it.
They don't just erase you.
Exactly. You had this incredible feud that meant something to the fans. It meant something to the fans, and that's so cool to me. That's really cool to me.
Yeah.
That it meant something to the fans in Japan. It meant something to the fans wherever you're from.
Yeah, so if they're following their favorite star,
Yeah.
they don't just lose the story. They're like, oh, we get to see the continuation of our favorite storylines.
And we know the Japanese wrestlers, it means so much. And it means so much to the American ones too.
Yes.
But in Japan, the fans take pride in this story and this lineage and this history. Look at what's going on with the world title right now over there with the IWGP, and people are kind of upset with Kota Ibushi about that. We'll get more into that on our episode later in the week, but it's the history means so much.
Yes.
So I love the fact they keep that. It was a good match. It was a solid match.
Yes.
I don't know, 5, 6, something
around there. Yeah, like a 5.5.
Yeah, the memorable part, you never had that one part in it that was just like, okay, I'm going to remember this forever.
Yeah.
And I kind of expected, with the history they had, to have a little bit more of a struggle, I guess. There was the struggle, but
yes,
I expected where you really believe that Shida is going to lose.
Yeah, more false finishes.
Yeah.
More like gripping your chest like, oh God, is she going to lose the belt?
Yeah, and I think it's hard, though, because it was, even though they had history, for us it was kind of cold.
Yeah.
You know, no matter, they can tell you all the history something has, but for us it's still a cold match.
Yes, and for a lot of people, it's their first time seeing Ryo Mizunami.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they didn't watch the tournament matches.
Absolutely. I mean, and one of the like few times I've seen Shida.
Yeah.
Shida's been off TV so much.
Yeah.
You know, so that's, you know, people have the argument about the women's division and the title and not having enough feature, and you can't really argue the point as far as Shida goes, because they're right.
Yeah.
We've not seen her in and out, you know, defense after defense, week after week. It's been few and far between. So hopefully that's changing, especially with the new show.
Yeah.
And we've got Elevation getting ready to start, and the other new show that'll be on proper TNT coming up. You're going to have a lot more opportunities to see a lot more of these people all spread out.
Yeah, definitely.
So good stuff.
So we move on from that, and we had Miro and Kip Sabian versus Orange Cassidy and Chuck Taylor, which started in the back.
Yeah, I love it. It started the way I wanted it to start, and I wanted it to start just where Miro did something just insane. This match checked all my boxes.
It reinforced the bad blood between these teams.
It checked all my boxes. I know people are like, man, this has went on forever. They want Miro to move on.
Yeah.
But that's part of the story.
Yeah, you gotta be patient.
Even in his promos, he's frustrated that he hasn't been able to move on. And he's like, you've taken up too much of my time.
Yeah, he's just done with this.
Yeah, he's so done with it. And he throws Chucky through a glass, part of a door. And so Chucky's cut open. They thump Orange, so Orange having trouble to get out there. In the match, they're beating the crap out of Chucky. And they're like, the ref, he's wanting the ref to stop it before, just to say don't ring the bell.
Yeah.
Just give up and say you're sorry, whatever, And Chucky's like, ring the damn bell. And, so then Chuck Taylor goes off and has a great performance.
Yeah.
Getting the ass beat. I mean,
it was so scary there for a while.
But one spot, comes up to this beautiful spot where, Penelope's up on the ring apron. And
that Penelope.
Miro hits Chuck, and it hits Chuck hits Orange. I apologize. Hits Orange into Penelope, and she goes smashing hard into the barrier. Well, obviously Kip goes to check on his wife,
which is a no-no because he's the legal man.
Yeah, he's the legal man. Miro has the match pretty much won. He comes out there. He's like, tag me. He gets in there, tags him, goes back to check on her, and Miro just wins in a very devastating way. Okay,
that finisher of his.
I mean, he's just devastating. His kicks are dead on. His punches were dead on. Everything he did was dead on tonight, and he looked like the killer that he's supposed to look like.
Yes.
And he is slim and trim and just ripped and just ready for that title run. I mean, he's freaking awesome. Okay, he really is. He is absolutely, in my opinion, the best acquisition.
And clearly insane. Yeah,
he's so good. And so afterwards, I love the play between him and Kip, because Kip was apologizing. He was that friend. It's like the moment that you realize you might be friends with a psycho.
Yeah, he's like, I just had to check on her. She's my wife.
Yeah.
And Miro's looking at him, and then he just smiles all of a sudden.
It's that dangerous friend that everybody's had at one time that's all cool when you're like on the same side.
Yeah.
But then you have that one little moment that you see, well, this person might be a maniac.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, I've made a mistake.
Yeah, this may be not for me. And I think we've seen that moment happen.
Oh, definitely.
It's a crack, at least, in the very fixture of that friendship.
Oh yeah, Miro's going dark side fast.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. I think it's a great story.
Definitely.
No Trent, because he really is that hurt.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I love it. I'm really here for it. I enjoy the story, and
proper beat down.
Yeah, wherever it goes from here, I think it's just going to be even more interesting.
Yes. What do you say? 6 or 7-ish?
No. I would say honestly, just from the story alone, probably a good 6 on this.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So we move on now to our big money match.
Yes.
Hangman Page versus Matt Hardy.
Yeah, and again, story. The story's there on this.
You expect some foul play here.
Yeah, I expected this to go sour.
Mm-hmm.
And
we did.
It was the best Matt Hardy match that Matt's had since he's been in the company.
He looked very good.
It was, he was actually able to wrestle the Hangman match.
Yeah. Which
is kudos to Matt, especially since, he's got some limitations. He's obviously hurting to breathe.
Yeah.
And, so there was the private party stuff, and that led to Dark Order coming out en masse. And
all of them.
Yeah, but they took care of the private party thing. So it didn't end the way I expected it to. I expected more of like a screw job thing, but
it was beautiful though.
They called Hangman as he got knocked off, put him back up. He got to do the buckshot Larry, and he honestly, JR said it right. My boy Stan Hansen, I'm a big Stan Hansen, Terry Gordy, Bruiser Brody mark. Okay,
yeah,
and he gave a Stan Hansen lariat there on that. He wins the match, and then Dark Order comes in and does the hugs, and they're all there as a team. You gotta love that. They're all a big family.
Yeah.
And I think everybody loves a good feel-good thing, especially since all the, we've went through all the sad Hangman. I've even made this Hangman's horse like voice that I use during matches and at the house. It's like, oh, Hangman, I'm so sorry. It's gonna be okay, buddy.
Oh, I'm gonna miss him.
So. He had the smile at the end of it, and actually,
he hugged them back.
Yeah, he hugged them back. He embraced it, and it looks like maybe he's there for the Dark Order, man. Maybe
I love a good found family story.
Yeah, maybe he's Dark Order, and right now it's a happy ending. Right now, they're all together, and just because of that, and because of the fact that they were able to pull this off, I'll still give this one a 6 because was it? Next level? No, it was not. It was a story match.
Yeah, definitely.
And
hopefully it leads to good things, and he uses all that money he won to buy the Dark Order nice things.
Yes. Just all kinds of nice things. Buy him like a big pizza party or something.
So next we had the Face of the Revolution ladder match with the big surprise 6th person.
Yes. The big surprise 6th person was not that much of a surprise because we all knew it was Ethan Page.
Yeah, everyone knew who it was going to be.
So
as much as we wanted to speculate and hope that it was someone else.
Yeah, so it was Ethan Page. Yay. And maybe he'll be a great addition to the roster. I mean, he's good.
Yeah, he works great.
Yeah, he's good. He fit in great.
There were some nasty bumps in this match.
There was some nasty bumps in the match. I seen where they were wanting it to go. I don't think it ever went there.
No,
I don't think that
it never hit that next level.
Yeah, I don't think that it was even though sometimes you can have the most magnificent bumps you can imagine.
Yeah,
and it's still not going to work. Everything seemed to go awry. It was just one of those matches where when they were wanting a bump to look a certain way, it looked a different way. And there's a lot of things that go into that. Honestly, the size of the ring just seems like if the ring was a little bit bigger, some of the stuff would have worked better.
Yeah.
But it just didn't. I just don't think it ever clicked.
There's like this ladder match, and then there's like Young Bucks versus the Briscoes in Ring of Honor.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many. And this company, if you're going to get a good ladder match, it would be this company.
Yeah.
And, so...
They had all the talent in the world, but I'm not sure they had enough killer instinct to just brutalize each other.
I don't know, man. Something just didn't click. It was one of those things where it never clicked.
Yeah. They had me guessing who was going to win there for a while, though.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that all worked, but there was botches.
Oh, yeah.
And
fair share of botches.
There definitely was botches. I think the ladders are a botch because those ladders look cheap. And, I mean, they look like they're... plasticky wood or something. They don't want to close. Yeah. And that kind of...
They had a few problems with that.
Yeah, that kind of hurts it. Like when you're trying to slam a ladder down on somebody and it just doesn't go. That hurts. And using the prop is hard.
It is.
It is very difficult. I've had a ladder match. It sucks.
Yeah.
That's another thing is it hurts.
Yeah.
Really badly, but you can't really get around that. So if you're going to do a ladder, just go get the tried and true.
Just get some metal ladders.
Home Depot, gimmick and go for it. But
well, Scorpio Sky ended up winning.
He did,
which we kind of saw coming.
Yeah.
I said if there was two people that could win other than the mystery person, it would be Cody Rhodes or Scorpio Sky. That seemed the smart choices.
Yeah.
I wanted Penta to win,
Me too. Me too. I was really looking for Penta to win, and that would have been fantastic.
Yes.
But, at the same time, I see what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, I hope it's not the fact, well, Scorpio's put his time in. It's his turn.
Yeah, I hope not. But I can see him and Darby having a good match.
Yeah, it'll be a good match. It will. We'll talk about that, but...
And the brass ring was hilarious.
Yeah, the brass ring part is really hilarious. It's just this match...
It fell flat.
Yeah, it fell flat for me.
A little bit.
And it could have been so much more.
Yeah, there weren't any of those gasp, hold your chest moments.
Yeah, there's nothing that we're
expect.
going to talk about tomorrow.
Yeah.
There's nothing and the whole show was really like that. There's nothing really that sticks out that is, except for the Sting match. But there's nothing really that sticks out where you're like, okay, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
I go back to like FTR versus the Bucks.
Yeah.
And that story that was told, that was, FTR screwing up and trying to, fight their war.
Yeah, definitely.
And losing, that was fantastic.
Beautiful.
And it's just a vision.
Never forget that.
Yeah, it's a vision. It's in my head.
Yeah.
It was fantastic. And Dustin and Cody, there's mostly, they're big shows. They have always had this one match or this, something that really, really does it for you.
Yeah.
And you always remember that moment.
Yeah.
But I didn't really get that through any of the matches. None of the matches were just horrible.
Yeah, no. They were all solid.
Yeah, they were all solid, and there was a whole lot of storytelling, and exactly like it needed to be.
Yeah.
But I still wish there had been that one anchor that really, you never forget.
Yeah. I would argue that the street fight may have been that anchor.
Yeah.
For what it was.
Yeah. And so what do we have next here?
Well, next was the big surprise signing of Mr. Christian Cage.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a ton of Christian Cage marks out there, and that's awesome. Like I said earlier on my preview, that's a flat one for me.
Yeah.
I don't think it should have had the same pomp and circumstance that it did.
No, because you don't imagine that he's going to get as much work as some of the other people.
Well, at this point, you got to stop bringing old WWE guys in.
Yeah. You kind of, you've run that race.
Yeah.
Give it up.
That's just ridiculous in my
We're a little
opinion.
over it. Get back to the indies.
Yeah, we've got incredible stars we've created.
Yeah.
I didn't even need a surprise.
No.
I didn't.
You don't really even need it at this point.
And if you're going to have one, hey, it better be big, man. It better be big. Not somebody who, went to TNA and did their whole TNA run. And then, if WWE had wanted them, they'd be there.
Yeah.
It's just the truth,
Considering his partners there.
Yeah, they had to come back for Royal Rumble, and, he was in that. That's great. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't know. I'm sure he'll be good.
Yes.
Limited, but good.
It was a little disappointing, but we didn't let it ruin the night for us.
Yeah, no, not
we promised.
Not at all.
After that, we had the street fight.
Yes.
Sting and Darby versus Team Taz's Ricky Starks and Brian Cage.
And as we thought, this was cinematic.
Oh, but it was beautiful.
And it was fantastic. It was the best cinematic match I've seen.
Yeah. That's because it wasn't just a cinematic match. It was a wrestling match filmed cinematically.
Yes, absolutely. And, they did use the warehouse they were in. And I like the fact of even getting to the match.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
It was amazing.
The whole thing, the facials and the ambiance and
the shots, just the work, everything.
Yeah, it was a really good episode of a flashy CW show. It was... Some
of the bumps they took were just horrible.
Yeah,
through the glass window, down through the second floor.
Yeah.
Just,
it was great, man.
No thanks.
It was really good, and it was done like a movie.
That's how you should do a cinematic match.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
If you look back at the last one they did with Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara,
they've
come a long way.
They really have. I dug Stadium Stampede, but it was a comedy thing.
Yeah.
Which
we expected.
Yeah, it was. This was cool.
Oh,
this was really cool.
It.
I would show people this.
Yeah.
And be like, well, yeah, here's what a cinematic match is.
Yeah.
And
This is this new standard. Take note.
I haven't seen one that was this good.
No, me either.
It's just this is finally like I think they upped the game on the cinematic thing.
Yeah, there's nothing silly or out of place.
Right.
It all felt right.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Like they were really beating the crap out of each other in the warehouse.
It was really fun. It was good. And honestly, because of that, I'm going to give it a 9. And,
I would definitely agree with
and
that.
just because it's graded on a different curve, we're looking at cinematic here.
On a scale of cinematic matches.
Yeah.
It ranks way up there.
Yeah, it was just that good. I mean, even things made sense. Like at one point he throws the bat, up to another level, and then it gets thrown back down, and when he needed it, and it's just good stuff, man. You got to go out of your way to see that.
Oh yeah.
If you don't see anything else, I would look for the cinematic match because it was fantastic.
It was a highlight for sure.
But it also gave them a chance to put together everything for the main event.
The main event. Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in a exploding barbed wire death match.
Yes. And listen, this was everything that it needed to be up until the finish.
I feel bad for TK.
Yeah. I love everything about it. They had everything the way it needed to be. And I was so afraid that they would have some sparklers or something at the end. And
Oops.
But when they went into the barbed wire, it exploded.
Yes.
It did everything. The drama was there.
It looked great.
The match was great. Everything did what you wanted it to do.
There was the suspense where they weren't going into it at
And
first.
yeah, even at the end, because nobody was coming out to save John. And he was handcuffed, and the Good Brothers had done way too long of a beat down, and all this stuff. And he was a loner, so nobody was there to save him. The countdown was happening. Everything had went perfect, and
even the run out was perfect.
Yeah, and Eddie comes out of nowhere, and it was
after everything they've been through.
Yeah, and they talk about the fact that the fact of how long they've been friends and all this stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know. It was just freaking fantastic, and And finally, when Kingston comes out, you're like, oh, this is great. It's
save your friend.
It's the Onita Funk thing. We knew it was.
Yeah,
and
because he couldn't wake him up, he couldn't move him.
Yeah, so he covered him, and it was the rest of the explosions were supposed to go off. They did. But they were so underwhelming. There was no danger for anybody in the ring. Like I would have put my kid in the ring.
Yeah.
I would have put a baby in the middle of the ring, eating a lollipop.
I can just imagine everyone backstage watching it and just the sheer feeling of horror.
Yeah, because
when the sparklers go off.
Yeah, because it screwed the entire show.
Oh man, that build up.
Because because of that. In perception world, the entire show becomes a laughing stock. It becomes a meme. It becomes a joke. Eddie laying on him for no reason.
Yeah, selling it.
Yeah, it becomes a joke like he had a heart attack or something.
Oh, Jesus.
Because there's no way he could have been hurt. And
if they had just thought on their feet and Kenny came out and was like, "Ha, fooled you. There wasn't really
it's exactly what I thought.
A big explosion."
It's exactly what I thought.
Gotcha.
I thought that Don Callis should have been. I told you there were surprises. There you are, idiots. All this stuff.
Do you really think we'd blow up our own house?
But the bad thing is everything else was so good.
I know.
It's not like any of the explosions were bad. The barbed wire was good.
Yeah, everything up until that point was fantastic.
Yeah.
And then,
and what made it worse was the fact of selling it.
Yeah, if he had just gotten up and been like, what the heck?
Yeah, you think leg slaps are bad? Try selling some.
And then the doctors come out and they're just piling on.
Try selling some Roman candles.
You're just sitting in there with the secondhand embarrassment and you can't handle it.
Yeah, no, I hate it. I hate it for them because there's so much work going into it.
Yes.
Bringing Onita into it, like all the stuff they did. Somebody dropped the ball.
Even the shirt was amazing.
I mean, somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah, somebody's getting fired.
And I don't know what else you could have done. Like, I don't know at that point. I think if you'd had more explosions on the barbed wire,
Yeah.
something around the ring, like literally close to them.
You have so much pyro.
Yeah.
Just use it.
Just something close to them. It needed to be something where they're going to feel a few sparks. I'm sorry.
Where we can't see them because of the smoke.
Yeah, that the smoke would have been great, and a bigger boom, and a longer,
loud boom.
Yeah, a longer deal. Just where the explosions, like maybe have a series of 100 explosions.
Yeah.
All safe, but in that circle.
Yeah. The ring doesn't have to collapse, but come on.
And a ton of smoke with a little bit of fire. Like it can be worked fire that's going to burn the rope for a second.
Yeah.
Anything that
when your explosion goes, you got a problem.
Yeah, when it literally looked like pyro that didn't go off all the way.
Oh, I bet that's what happened. Something got botched.
Goldberg went through more danger walking to the ring.
You gotta imagine that this is not what they had in mind.
No, it can't be.
It had to have gone wrong.
Yeah, it can't be what they had in mind. But I don't know how they come back from it.
No. I don't think, at this point, you can't even explain yourself. You just have to move on.
Yeah, I don't know how Eddie Kingston comes back from it.
He's pissed off.
Because he's forever a meme now.
Yeah.
And,
he's so mad.
I
can feel his anger from here.
Has to be. But I have to also call it like I see it. I mean, it's a dud of a match because of that.
Yeah, at the end, they just ruined it.
I mean, if it had been called anything else, it wouldn't be. It'd be a good match, but I'm not even going to rank it because it's a dud.
Oh, even Moxley getting out of the One Wing Angel was brilliant.
Yeah, everything was great, but it ruined all of it.
It bothers me so bad.
It ruined all of it.
You can't even rate it.
And unfortunately, like I said, for most people, it ruined the entire show. You never want to own that show.
Yeah.
You never want to wear the shirt.
And everyone's just going to be like, oh, that was that show that ended with that crappy pyro.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
It's just it's going to be a huge joke.
It is, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's be prepared. Just that, if I could tell you anything, be prepared, because it is, like I said, I enjoyed the show.
I did too.
A lot.
It was a lot of fun. And from start to finish.
Yeah.
To almost finish.
Yeah, I enjoyed the show up until 5 minutes left. So everything other than the last 5 minutes,
yes,
it would have been fantastic.
Well, speaking of being excited for things, this Wednesday on Dynamite, we have a few matches announced.
Yes,
we have an Inner Circle War Council. It's not a match, but the Inner Circle is gonna regame their game plan because they're all losing and things are going bad, so they gotta figure stuff out.
Yeah, and what's going to happen with the way MJF was talking, this is it.
Yeah.
This is going to be probably the Chris Jericho turn.
He said changes are needed.
Yeah.
And he looked at Chris like, you're the change that's needed.
Yeah, I think this might be it. So that's going to be interesting.
We also have the aforementioned women's match, Shida, Rio, and Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker, Maki Ito, and Rebel.
Yes, which I can't wait for. The funny thing is, the highlight of my night was Maki Ito coming out. Is that bad?
No, I would agree with that.
It was. So,
I tweeted about that one.
Yeah, it was so cool.
And then we have Matt Jackson versus Rey Fenix,
which I'm also very excited for.
A little preview for the tag team title match.
Yeah, very excited for that. I really am. I think it's going to be a great match. It's Matt is a hell of a singles wrestler.
Yeah, he is.
I think that people always give Nick that nod.
They're both amazing.
I'm a Matt guy. I'm Team Matt. So
I kind of hope they add Pac versus John Silver.
Yes. Yeah, I mean that would be a hell of a match.
I want to see that full match.
Be a hell of a match.
So the other match that was confirmed, obviously, is Darby Allin versus Scorpio Sky for the TNT title.
Yeah, and Darby is, and Darby's from my Taz love. Darby's, he's really screwed up, so hopefully he retains the title.
I hope so.
Just because of having to go through, he's already selling. You know what I mean? He's going to be selling right off the bat.
Yeah, he went through a lot tonight.
And what this does is further a Scorpio turn because he's had that arrogance already.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe if Scorpio loses, then Scorpio's knocked down a few pegs and he gets pissed off and. Just ugliness, just ensues and just full Scorpio. So
he goes full Scorpio.
He goes full Scorpio on everybody.
We had one more announcement tonight during the show, and that is our next pay-per-view, AEW Double or Nothing, which will be on Sunday, May 30th, and hopefully end better than this one.
Yes. Yeah. No. Let's go, Chris Candido. No gimmicks needed.
Yeah.
So that'd be great. Like I said, the show was solid. There was so many, good, solid things that happened, but there was nothing over the top magnificent.
No.
There's nothing over the top terrible as far as match quality.
Yeah.
The only thing that happened was an era, in my opinion. And it was either, if it was somebody, like if that was the way it was intended to end, then you really fucked up. Okay.
If that's what you had planned, then shame on you.
Yeah. I'm gonna take everything we said good about you and stomp it. No, I'm just kidding.
The problem is, I think it was an above average show, but the parts that they built up so much, the surprises and whatnot, kind of fell a little flat, and that brought it down a little. Like it dragged it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they were on such a roll. Mm-hmm. They've had incredible week after incredible week of television. So 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10, week after week after week after week of incredible television, and you get to a lackluster, pay-per-view, like she said, of what was build up.
Yes.
You had other stuff over deliver, and you had the stuff that was really build up just sort of deliver.
Yeah. There's something to be said about being so excited for a show.
Yes.
Because then you're more likely to be let down.
Oh, absolutely.
If you have that high of expectations going into it, you're probably definitely going to be let down at some point.
And you know how I like metaphors. So when I first got laid, the very first time I got laid, I was so excited. I was just so excited. This girl, it was even the way it happened. She was my tutor.
Wow.
And the school had actually appointed her as my tutor.
Wow.
And she had on. Listen, I'm not gonna get too dirty at this, but I'm just gonna tell you.
Yeah.
She had on a little skirt. And she caught me like looking, and she smiled, and she was like, "Do you like what you see?" And this has really happened to me, and I didn't know what to say. You guys don't know me personally, but I have a hard time telling you what I want. Like, I might really
beat around the bush.
I might really think you're super attractive, and I want to say what I want to say, but I have a hard time. So I'm just like really trying to push it to you, like yeah. But anyway, I didn't have to because this girl was very take control, and but I was so excited, and oh man, it was such a letdown. Like I'd seen so many movies and I'd seen so many movies and read so many things and thought there was going to be this magnificent like fireworks and all this stuff, and I found out that it's more fun by myself. And it was that's what it kind of was.
Yeah.
It was kind of like you really thought you were going to have this amazing sex.
Yeah. And
you had sex. It happened.
Yeah, it definitely happened.
And then you felt kind of weird afterwards. It was just, you were like, like when you just, you don't say anything, you just put your clothes on real quick, and you don't even want that awkwardness. Like you don't want to talk to anybody about it. That's how we all were when it was over.
So you say AEW Revolution was all of us losing our virginities?
Yes. Yes. We were all like really quiet. And we didn't talk. Like we just didn't want to talk.
We all just kind of went our separate ways.
Yeah. We're just like,
okay.
All right. We didn't even say all right.
No, we didn't talk at all.
It was just like, okay.
We all just sort of got up and went to do something else.
Let's do our reaction show.
Oh my goodness.
And let's get,
that's hilarious.
So I thought that starting out was something I'm really mad about. I could put all my hate and anger into that.
Well, turns out you got the most excited about that.
Yes.
You're the most animated about that part.
I'm still mad about it, but yes.
Me too. And I'm not mad about Revolution. It was a good show, but it just didn't live up to the hype.
Honestly, on our scale, I give the show a 5.
Yeah.
And I hate to do that.
Average.
But I have to give you the truth.
It should have been above average, but it only fell to average because some things didn't deliver.
I mean, it's if you're going to bill it a certain thing,
Yeah.
it better be that. You know what I'm saying? If I'm coming to you and I'm like, I am the most magnificent kisser you'll ever kiss.
Yeah.
Ever. Mm-hmm. And everything else I do on the date, like I take you to the most posh restaurant you've ever been to.
Right.
I have the best car you've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, I'm the sweetest guy you've ever met.
Right.
Okay? But I'm a shitty kisser. I mean, I am a shitty kisser.
But you made it a point to talk about how good of a kisser
How good
you
of
were.
a kisser I was.
Right.
You're going to be very fucking disappointed.
Nothing else will matter at that point.
No, because it was all about the kiss.
Yeah.
You've already told
in your head.
And you've already told your friends going into it.
Yeah.
Oh, he's the best kisser ever, And they're the first thing they're going to ask you.
How was that kiss?
So how was that kiss?
So you're either forced to lie or own up to your disappointment.
Or talk about all the good stuff and avoid that, like we were trying to do.
Yeah.
So.
Listen, my pointer for AEW is to stop announcing surprises 2 weeks before they happen and just put it out there as soon as someone signs and just stop building it up so much.
You've said that. You've honestly said that to me recently about other stuff. And you've said, why couldn't, shouldn't that have been a surprise?
Yeah.
Like a surprise.
Yeah.
And that would have been so much better. She's literally told me that several times. And I'm like, oh, no, it's okay. It's all good. And on this one, I honestly thought, well, he's obviously got things in his head that he thinks are bigger than they are.
Yes.
Because he's done it before. Mm-hmm.
He's like a kid.
Yeah.
And he doesn't quite understand that not everyone's going to be as excited as he is about something.
Yeah.
Like when a kid brings you his favorite toy or wants to show you how he can sing the ABCs for the 100th time in the day.
Yeah.
And he's so excited because he wants to show you this thing, and he won't understand if you don't get as excited as he is.
It's a good analogy because your kid is so sweet.
Yes.
That you still want to be.
You still act excited.
So then, because other kids suck.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the thing with Tony Khan.
Your kids are better than everyone else's kids.
All the other kids suck really bad.
You don't want to make them sad.
All the other kids are carnies. And they all suck. They don't care about our well-being.
No.
But your kid does. Your kid wants you to have happy family life. Your kid wants a fucking 9-year-old to walk out forever when it might be time to send Junior to school.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm just saying.
Just slowly phase that out.
So this is why I keep
God bless his soul.
This is why I still watch WWE, by the way. This is why that I'm forgiving.
Yeah.
Because some people are like, especially like people that may have came along right when AEW started, right? Mm-hmm. They're like, why do you even still watch that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I've seen it when it was good. I mean, I have. I've seen it when it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And it could totally be that way again tomorrow.
Yes. We're kind of caught between Kid at Christmas and old classy gentleman in like the library with his scotch.
Yeah.
That's what we're stuck between.
Yeah.
We need a middle ground here.
Yes, we do. And we tried finding that middle ground.
Well, I think we'll get there when some people just learn to calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Yeah.
Just chill out. Take a chill.
Absolutely.
And social media isn't helping.
No, social media just pisses me off.
Everyone just has to put all their stuff out there on social media.
Well, that's a big problem because they put their first bad reaction. Everything has to be negative. Everything has to be, let's tear this person's soul down.
Yeah.
And I hate that because you wouldn't do that if they were standing in front of you.
Yeah.
You would be like the McMahon thing. Mm-hmm. You would write whatever they said on the wall. And you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
It wouldn't be like that. And that is the crime of social media is it's way too easy to put disrespectful shit up.
Why isn't it your first reaction to just put your first positive thought?
Or just look for the positives. I mean,
like just stop for a second and think, what's something good I can say about this?
Yeah. And what's something that I've done that, I put so much effort into because listen, this person that is running this company, this is another reason that I give them breaks.
Yeah.
We don't have to have it.
No.
Okay. of course, it was a losing proposition money-wise, especially within the last year when you can't have live crowds.
Yeah.
And instead, they've brought us nonstop entertainment through the hardest year of our lives.
Mm-hmm. They were there for us.
And there's times, and I'll let you know, there was times that it sucked to do my job. It was scary as hell. I didn't want to kill my family. I didn't want to bring something home. My job was required for me to be out in it. And, so I didn't talk about that with my family. I didn't tell them how scared I was. And at the same time, I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I didn't want them to die. Nobody knew what was going to happen.
No.
And I had one good thing. And this is the truth. One good night that we didn't have to think about politics. We didn't have to think about this or that. We didn't have to think about the state of the world. We didn't have to think about a pandemic. It was when I got to sit down and watch live wrestling with my family and enjoy it as a family. There wasn't a movie because you know what? Hollywood is partial.
Yeah.
So Hollywood is going to have politics in it, no matter which side you're looking at. Anything else was going to have something, okay? The world was more torn apart at a time when we needed to be together and a time when we all needed to be nice and kind to each other. It was more torn and more separate than it could ever be. It was scary not just to be out because of a virus. It was scary to be out because of the difference in skin color, because of the difference in political things that my family don't believe in. And we all believe in love. We all believe in getting along. We all believe in all this stuff. Don't get me wrong. We also believe there's a lot of people that are very, very ignorant on both sides.
Yes.
Okay. But the one time we didn't have to worry about that was when we all sit together and watch this, and they brought it to us. They brought it to us as hard as they could.
Yes.
And man, they tried.
True escapism.
And they really tried. And everybody's like, well, they just give the fans what they want. Yeah, they did.
What's wrong with that?
They gave the fans what they wanted during the hardest time of our lives.
They gave us something to feel good about.
So I can give things a little bit of a pass, but I can't give that fucking exploding ring one.
No, unfortunately not. That was a thumbs down from us.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's that's what it is. It's blind tag wrestling, and you'll never see it coming. That's for sure. But I had fun nonetheless. I had fun here with you doing this.
Yes,
and
this has been a joy.
And I'm gonna have a lot more fun talking about everything that's happened since the anniversary show on New Japan, breaking down some matches long form because there's some that need that.
Yes.
There's some storylines I want to dip into and talk about that are happening. Even some facials that happened after a match that were so big to me because New Japan is masters of that. There's also some stuff we need to catch you up on that's going into the road to WrestleMania. Also, we'll need to update again on what's going on with a string of the Magnificent Dynamites continue. What will they do? It'll be fun to see what they do booking wise.
Yeah.
To pull back.
Yeah.
From this.
How do they fix it?
How do they fix it? Exactly. And I give them this. They probably will.
Yeah.
If nothing else, a lot of times they use humor through BTE to do it. I could see them starting with like some sparklers or something. There's ways to do it. And a lot of times poking fun at yourself.
Yeah, we know we messed up.
Is the easiest way. Whereas a lot of times New York would show that revisionist history. They would show it enough where it looked like it was dangerous, or they would say there was carbons in the air that could have done this or could have done that, or
editing explosions.
Eddie Kingston was in the Gulf War and we just never knew about it. And when he smells a certain smell, he passes out. And when he passed out, it was on John's lungs and John couldn't move. And so I mean, that's honest to God, I wouldn't put it past them. But or they would say it was a dream sequence.
It never really happened.
Yeah, they would show somebody like wake up in a shower where they'd hit their head. And it was like, one cinematic dream. The real pay-per-view is going to be free next week.
It would have been Eddie Kingston's dream.
Yeah, it's Eddie Kingston's dream.
Saving John at the end.
They'll go back to the last time you remember when John like knocked him out and you didn't give up. He'll go back. Nothing happened since then. Oh my God, that's it. We can save them, Raja. We could save them.
Just go back.
It was the bulldog choke. It was because he chokes all those damn bulldogs at his house. It was the bulldog choke. He choked him out. And
everything since then's been
everything since then's been a fever dream.
Or a coma dream even.
There you go. So on that terrible disappointment, my name's John Hawkins, and I'm joined as always with the lovely Raja, and it's Blind Tag Wrestling Podcast. We'll see you next time.
You'll never see it coming.